Very good afternoon, everyone. Quite excited to host the LinkedIn Live today because it's going to be very special. As you know, it's the season of love, and isn't running a business all about love? Because when you love what you do, work becomes fun and you're happy to get out of bed each morning and prepare for a productive day. But what's the fun of being in love when it doesn't bring any challenges? As business owners, you all go through a lot and try and fight your all battles alone. But is that even true? Entrepreneurship doesn't have to be a lonely journey. And business coaching or a business coach, reaching out to a business coach can give you a lot of answers to problems that you entrepreneurs face on a day-to-day basis. But most people don't know what coaching really is, whether it's for sports or business. You can't coach yourself, or without a world-class coach, you will never fulfill your potential. We all fight a losing battle, seeking pleasures, avoiding pain. In one scenario or the other, we get blinded by ego and need the external influence to hold a mirror up. A coach exactly does that and helps you find a way forward. As Marshall Goldsmith says in his book, what got you here won't get you there. Similarly, business owners at times need to change their approach, bring in a third person perspective, understand their requirement, and someone who can help them take informed decisions, because in business it's very important to take the right decisions. And today we are here to discuss how business coaching can really help you help entrepreneurs to scale their ventures by sharing a success story of two wonderful people who, most importantly, love what they do. They are very passionate about their businesses, and the kind of journey they've had together, I'm sure it's going to inspire a lot of our audience today. So without taking much of your time, let me introduce you to the speakers of the day. We have with us Mr. Soumya Sarj Jain, who's an engineer, dreamer, and has passion for what future lies in store for human beings. A graduate from SP Jain, batch 2013. He runs his traditional family business of PVC pipes since the last 12 years. He developed new and innovative products and exported to 46 countries. He has built relationships with the top 10 global clients. Realizing that the potential in the startup ecosystem is huge, Sarj decided to disrupt his industry in which he has been operating for the last many decades, and also decided to build a platform that connects the disruption of the startup ecosystem with family managed businesses. Exponent platform is a platform that identifies startups, evaluates their business propositions, and thereon identifies synergies with the family-owned businesses and encourages family-owned businesses to connect with the startups. Exponent recently focused on mobility as a service, which includes creating an EV cluster, last mile delivery, EV charging, and leasing companies to help the sector achieve its full potential. Joining Sarj Jain on the conversation today is Coach Ratish Pande. I'm sure all the audience already knows him because he's been a regular on this field. Coach Ratish is an experienced business and executive coach, mentor, sales effectiveness trainer. He's worked with clients globally, has the precedence of working closely with his coaches to design and execute complex strategic plans that require action and change. He's a passionate, result-driven person who loves to work with people. He's adept at building trust with his coaches, and I can personally watch for him. I've been seeing his journey in the last couple of years. He's more than a coach. He's a friend who understands you well, who hears you out, and who comes up with innovative solutions. Recently awarded by Entrepreneur.com as the most successful business coaching enterprise. Recognized by the action coach community for a coach who actually bring results, and that's what he believes in. I remember having a conversation with him a couple of years back where he said, coaching for him is all about adding value to other people's life. So a man who believes in the vision of taking business to the next level. So, two such great speakers with us today. On that note, now I like to bring in Sarj first and ask him, to run us through his journey of being an entrepreneur. Talk us about a little bit about your business, what you've been doing all these years, Sarj.
Thank you, Satyam. Thank you for hosting us. And so I can tell you, traditionally the family businesses in India, they've always been born and brought up with a lot of aspirations and ambitions. But as the times are changing, maybe whole community is not able to gear up, is not able to keep abreast with all of that. So looking and seeking for that, I actually joined SPGen, SPGen, and specifically the Family Managed Business Group. And the best part was I can connect with anyone and everyone from lower strata to the higher strata, and network pan India across other countries also, across businesses, right? So that was quite an journey for me. And yeah, I have seen my father doing stuff, far beyond his time. So I was always keen to do something which was far more valuable, right? I mean, where I can get the kick, as I say. So I was very, very keen of finding out more synergies. Now, what happened when I entered into my family business was it was a traditional family business of making pipes, and making pipes is no rocket science, right? And I'm an engineer. Then I did my MBA. So, I mean, to look at it, I was overqualified for my family business. So I had two options. One is to take that business big, or second was to expand into other fields. And when I asked this question to Ratish sir, he said, "Why not both?" Right? So that's the beauty of a coach. When a coach comes in and says, why not both, you get deeper into your soul and skin and think, why not, and what's stopping me? So what happened then, I started transforming my business, and then we came up of deciding how can we make our business a platform. So now, I'm trying to make my industry a platform where people can connect, and the value can be changed seamlessly. That's the whole idea of platform, right? And then I was talking to Ratisha, and we used to have a lot of deep discussions. So he used to ask me, what does family business think, and I used to ask him, what does he think as a coach. And then we actually come out to a point that even then, if we really want to do something big in your own business, you still need a coach, right? Without a coach, you will never be able to take a firm decision. Sometimes if you take a firm decision without a coach, it can possibly go wrong, because coach comes from a point of view which is far beyond and higher, and he has accumulated a lot of knowledge over a period of time, and that's why he's a coach. So for me, it was a journey which actually embarked me on a thinking process. So it was a very, very long and deep thinking process, that one step at a time, think, act, get. So that was my journey with Ratish sir. And family business, yes, we have already grown 4x in last 1 decade, which was not more than enough for me. Hence, I started, digressing, and I started looking at other opportunities in startups. We're doing pretty good. I mean, we'll talk about Exponent sometime during our conversation with Ratish sir. But yes, till now, it has been a great journey with Ratish sir.
But that's exactly what we love about entrepreneurs like you. Even after having so much of success in life, even after doing so many things, that word that you use, that kick, always pushes you to do more, try out new things. And as I said, a lot of entrepreneurs do not realize their full potential, and that's where they actually need a coach. I remember seeing one
Yes.
of the recordings of a session that you did with Ratisa somewhere last year, where there was a detailed discussion about what's the purpose of you being in business. And the way Ratisa coached you on that aspect was excellent. But on that note, since you've spoken so so much about Ratisa all this while, I would now like to bring him into the conversation here. Ratisa, why do even entrepreneurs need a business coach? What do you do with them when when they come to you?
Well, thank you. Thank you first, Satyam and Mansi, for hosting both Sarth and me. Sarth and I, of course, have had many conversations, but live is probably going to be the first one of those first ones. And I'm definitely looking forward to this next 35, 40 minutes of this conversation. Back to your question, Satyam, I think, when my experience, a lot of times entrepreneurs don't know what business coaches do. And when you tell and when you introduce yourself, hey, I'm here to help you succeed, and they say, time out, I'm already successful, right? And everybody's measure of success at times is very different, Satyam. So therefore, you need to help them understand what would success look like for them, right? If they did something different and not do the same thing year in, year out, day in, day out. And that is where business coaches come in and, help entrepreneurs realize their full potential, if I may. Typically, what happens is that people have a block in their minds. Entrepreneurs have a block in their mind that, hey, I've been running my business for the last decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, or even 3 years or 1 year. I know my business best. How can you, as a coach, come in and give me something different or help me with something that I don't know? And that is where I think coaches come in with a new perspective, very new, different perspective, and change the business together. So I would say, apart from this, entrepreneurship actually is a very lonely journey. Just giving an example, I have a client and he wanted to fire a very senior employee. He had nobody else to go and talk to. So acting as sounding boards, should I not? If I do, what will be the impact on my business? If I don't, what is the impact on my business? And those are things that coaches help entrepreneurs with, act as sounding boards. But at the same time, as coaches, we hold you accountable. As entrepreneurs, we hold you accountable of what you have signed up for, what your vision is. And as we go down this conversation today, I'm sure Sarth will share and love to share how his vision has changed and look at how his journey has been in the last, I would say, a couple of years now, and where we have reached. But really, back to you, Satyam. I think for entrepreneurs, it's a lonely journey, acting as sounding boards. And I love using this phrase, as coaches, we do not give you a fish to eat every day, but we help you fish so that you can feed yourself for your lifetime. So it's an old Chinese proverb, but I think for coaching, it just fits absolutely to the T. Over to you, Satyam.
Absolutely, sir. Very well put. I actually firmly believe that coaching is all about fulfilling the dreams of business owners, because as coaches, you understand their dreams, help them map out their goals, help them learn, and take massive action so that they can actually live their dream or bring it to reality. But I've been following the journey of both of you working together for the last couple of months, or rather, the one whole year, and personally seen the success that you guys have got together. But for the benefit of the audience, Rati sir, I would now like you to take this conversation ahead in terms of how did you guys met, how it all started, and the magic that you guys have done in the last 1 year or so. Our audience would be very, very excited to learn all of that from you all.
Absolutely. Love to do that with Sarth. I still remember Sarth. We met in October 2019.
Yes.
October 2020.
Yes,
right?
October 2020.
Yeah. And, initial meetings were discovery meetings, Let's meet.
I mean, when I look back at it, I'm quite, not ashamed, but I'm quite assumed that what kind of a person I used to be.
No, I think as in coaching, as we say, these were chemistry meetings, right? You need to have the right chemistry between the two people who want to work together. Because if that chemistry doesn't work, nothing can work.
Nothing really can.
So I still remember we were having free flowing discussions.
Yes.
What do you do? What is happening in the business? What is happening outside the business? It was literally free flowing discussion. Talking about everything and anything, and also, of course, focusing on.
So I'll tell. Probably you are not ready to tell because it's my personal information that you are not telling. But yeah, I don't mind telling it now to everyone that. So at that point in time, I was dealing with family issues, business issues, ambition issues, dreaming issues, and all that. So my first meeting with Ratish sir was in Starbucks, and when I met him, he was there on before time, and I was running really late. So I was like, oh, I was already, feeling that I should go and apologize, and I did. And then we started talking. He said, no, absolutely fine. And he was so amicable, that gave me the first comfort with my coach, so that what happens is that in India, coaches and teachers are two different things people don't understand, right? So what happened is that, when you go and approach a coach, you think that you are getting or hiring a teacher. And the previous experience of Indians of having a teacher is of somebody who's very strict. Now you got out of school thinking that you never have to deal with teachers again, and then now in business you are saying, "Oh, I want a teacher again," right? So that's the biggest challenge. So one must really understand that there's a difference between teacher and a coach. Coach is somebody who's really like your friend, literally more than a friend, a more valuable, more valuable friend. So when I met him, he's like, no, no, relax, it's okay. You're late, it's okay. And that was something which gave me a lot of comfort. And the first thing that gives you comfort is where you start, your guards go down, and then you start discussing. And then, trust me, I had so many issues that time, and I gave all that issues to Ratish sir at one go. And the beauty of a good coach like Ratish sir is that, after listening to you 15, 20, 30 minutes, they'll give you an advice of literally not more than a minute, minute and a half, and which will really give you a path forward, saying, okay, this is where I'm stuck. All these problems are converging at once because there is something that needs to be done. So that was my first meeting with Ratish sir, and I said, okay, sir, I think we need to meet once more. And I think that was proposed by Ratish sir only, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
You proposed, and then we had another meeting, and then in that meeting we again discussed that these are the ongoing challenges, and then we took a step at a step at a step, and then we started meeting in Indian Habitat Centers. Your treat on coffees and chais were amazing. I always miss them, and I am still, I think, the only coachee that has access to your Starbucks card and go to a Starbucks and buy myself a drink every time I meet you. So thank you for everything and those Starbucks coffees.
Great. Yes, absolutely. Starbucks has become our, anyway, let's not talk about Starbucks here, but so obviously we talked a little bit about what were your challenges that you were facing. But more importantly, Sarth, why did you think of getting a business coach? What were your thoughts at that point of time when you said, okay, let me explore that opportunity, that thought, if I may?
So I saw something called Action Coach on LinkedIn. And the day I saw it, a day prior to that, I think somebody told me, my mom or somebody told me that, Sarth, you're thinking a lot, but action is missing. Now, when you say action is missing and here you see an action coach, I mean, that becomes more obvious for me to not, it's impossible to bypass that thing, and you have to click on action coach. When I clicked on it, and I still remember I was on my way from Delhi to Agra on an express highway, and honestly, that time also when you called, I was on Starbucks. So you called and I said, sir, I'm on my way to Agra, and we'll catch up once I'm back. And then next day we had another call, and so the idea of getting in an engagement with a coach was that, I think, a couple of things, sir, if I'm allowed to give all of that. One is that I'm a Jain, right? So in a Jain, they always tell you that your guru is bigger than your milestone, your destination, your success. Anything can come second, but your guru comes first. And even in our daily mantra that we do, Namo Arihantanam, Namo Siddhanam. So Namo Arihantanam means Arihant, the ones who show you the path are bigger than even the highest power. So, and even in Punjab, in your Sikh religion, they say काके लागे पाए, guru balihar jo aap dikhaye raaste. So, the guru is bigger than anything else. So that was one thing. And then action. So somebody who can lead me to an action, I think that was a no brainer for me to, approach and talk to you.
Great. Yeah, thank you. And actually, when I think of Brad Sugars, when he coined action coach, I think the thought was exactly in his mind that here coaches who believe in action rather than just coaching. So yes, absolutely, good point there. So and again, we've talked a lot about and we've covered some discussions around this as to what we have done. But if you can, over the last, what has been our journey like, right? What has been your journey together since October 2020 till now? What has it been like? And more importantly, because I remember we did think of business ventures, and then said, okay, it's time, good to drop it right now, not pursue it. Whether should we be failing fast or taking time to fail, whatever. There's a lot of discussions that happened. So love to hear that from you, sir.
So one is that, sir, I think a complete trust on your coach is important. And when I decided that I want to have this relation based on trust, I started listening to you. When I listen to you, I don't judge you. And most people, and Indian societies are not that easy, by the way. Unlike Australians or Americans or Japanese, they have a very different way of living. In India, we are very traditional, close knit families, and so we are not even allowed to listen to a lot of people, so forth and so forth. So when I decided that this relation is based on trust, and I give the complete power to you to give me any suggestion, I started listening. And when I started listening, I started acting. So the first thing that we basically discussed was getting the house in order. So that was first vinyl pipes to get the house in order, and then second was to get the family business, family things in order, and third was to look something beyond our family regular business. So I think the way you helped me sail through my journey in my existing business that time was, how do we get our international business right? How do we get the customer experience right? How do we get the sales funnel right? How do we get the CRM right? How to get the marketing PR right? So those were one of those things which were very important and missing. So if you look, I could have gone to consultants, but consultants would come with an agenda. I mean, I personally had that experience. So beauty of working with you was that anything and everything was available. So, right, if you want to talk about productivity, if you want to talk about operations, if you want to talk about finance, you are a chartered accountant. So the whole gambit was such a thing that I could have discussed anything and everything. Right. So that was the beauty. And that is where my comfort grew so much that, we started discussing how do I resolve my family issues. Right. I mean, I lost my father in 2019. I was going through expansion mode in my factories, and then suddenly COVID. All that were too much accumulation. And then again, I had my ambition of doing something beyond vinyl pipes, which the family was not very happy at that time. Now they are probably very happy, and they are glad that I did it. So you were very helpful in all those journeys, and I think our discussions have been more on psychological, mental, than business, as I say.
Yeah, I think well said, Sarthan. Thank you for those comments. Absolutely, I think the mindset shift that you've been able to bring in yourself has been phenomenal. I have rarely seen family and traditional business owners, explode in their thinking in terms of what is possible. The future potential. And when Satyam introduced you as a dreamer, and I think you and I laugh about it, but yes, you indeed are a dreamer in terms of looking at what is possible. What is possible, right? And as they say, possibilities are endless. And that is what right now you are at a path to achieve, really looking at endless possibilities and endless opportunities that are right in front of you. So
So in the video that action coach played, there was something which was to start with abundance, right?
yes,
That mindset, if a coach, any coach can develop that mindset of abundance, I think his job is done.
absolutely, well said. Yeah, the more you
That
give.
is first thing that any coach should be actually, looking to inculcate, that boss, anything is possible. I mean, what are we waiting for? People start with zero, rather negative, and they make it such big. Why? What is stopping you? Is it time? Then you need to create time. If you don't have something, and your 3 words changed my life,
I
and
know, I
those
know.
are. I mean, are we allowed to disclose those or not?
Absolutely, absolutely. Love to hear them from you rather than from
So,
Action Coach.
I was sitting in an Indian Habitat Center having, as usual, a free coffee. Ratish sir is always very welcoming and warming. He said, "Look, okay, what will you have?" I said, "Tea or coffee." So I used to have coffee, he used to have chai. So he's like, "Sir, today I want to introduce something which may probably help you." And he was very casual about it. I said, "Okay." He said, "Here, see, you have to be something, then you have to do something to have something." And I am an engineer, right? So equations are something which is very generic to me. I mean, I can visualize those equations. And I said, what he's saying is right. You have to be something, and then you have to do something to have something. It's as simple as that. I mean, it was like, oh my god, it is also as simple as that. There's no rocket science about it. So what I need to do is work on myself, and then once I have done something on myself, then I will have to do something, and then I'll be able to get it, because it's a simple multiplication method. And that was one eye opener for me. Trust me, sir, I still thank you day in day out for giving me that thing in that manner, right? So
Yeah, I
that
think
was pure gold for me.
the B times two is equal to have is a phenomenal formula for life success, and I'm glad, Sat, that you've sort of took it to heart, and you sort of you actually you follow it day in day out today these days. So that's phenomenal.
So I'll tell you something, sir. What happened after that?
Yeah,
uh, so I wanted something, honestly, and this is exactly how I started building companies. I wanted to have something, right? And to have something, I had to be something, and I had to do something, right? Now, to be something, I had to either read, either talk, either learn, or do whatever it takes, right, to develop that skill. So
yeah,
I started going back to books, right? As basic as books on blockchain, books on artificial intelligence, uh, future is faster than you think. All those basic books to understand my what is that I am missing, and I built on that, and then I did very small steps. So even those smaller steps were giving exponential results.
that is correct. Our friend James Clear, right? Absolutely good. Okay, so now let me, and I'm sure there are a whole bunch of entrepreneurs on the call right now, and uh, and this is a question that I'm sure each one is going to have in their mind right now as we are having this conversation, Sarth. And the question that they would have in their mind is, great, you've got a coach. Now tell me, how do you get the best from your coach? So how can you get the best from your coach? Your thoughts here, Sarth. And I'm sure all these people who are attending and listening to this LinkedIn Live would definitely will be all ears for this answer.
Sir, I have a very, very different answer to this, and I think most people may get offended, which is fine. You don't get best out of coaches. You don't get most out of coaches. You get best and most out of yourself. Are you ready to, or do you have the willingness to learn? Is the first and foremost thing. आप एक पत्थर की मूर्ति से भी सीख सकते हो और आप में सीखने की हिम्मत है अगर if you really are willing to learn something, right? If you are a seeker, you learn from anything and everything. And God bless you that you already have a coach in life, right? My answer to all of these guys is that have willingness to learn, have more acceptability of the advices. And that's not to give a principled answer. I would say your thoughts, make a list of questions. I used to do that well. You used to have mind mapping sessions where I used to everything on the board, on the chart, and this is, how do we address this, how do we address that, and how do we address that. So yeah, the principal answer is that you should have your mind mapping done before you meet your coach. Have very clear questions and don't have any hesitance in asking as because on the other side there is somebody who's more mature and more learned than you to answer your so be all open and go all out to ask questions from coaches.
Great, and I think that's a great thought there. And I think as you picked it out right, you know, and that's been my experience also. I meet entrepreneurs almost on a daily basis. 10 out of 7 will say yes, I have the ability to change. But only 1 out of 10 would have the willingness to change also. And this is exactly what you're mentioning. So basically, to be successful, absolutely have the ability and the willingness to change, because once you get into a coaching engagement, the coach will push you to change. And if you don't have the willingness to change, you might get stuck at the same spot where you have been. So that's a great one. Okay. So now this is a sales question, right?
Okay.
From the action coach side, right? What advice would you give to entrepreneurs? Should entrepreneurs who are listening in today, and there's so many of them, engage in a business coach? Should they even think in that direction or not?
Of course. There is no question about it. One is that the biggest advantage is that under a guidance of a coach, you can never go lower than where you are. You can always go higher and further. So the biggest fear that it may cause me some loss in my business is not going to happen. So once you are operating from that point of view, okay, I have nothing to lose, or because the other person who's coming in my in my day-to-day business thinking process, you will never have to lose anything, right? And
Sure.
One thing I really advise all entrepreneurs is that it can never be one step game. It has to be at least 10 to 15 step games. And if you don't walk the entire 10 to 15 steps, you will never be able to get the full out of your coach. You will never be able to get the full out of yourself, because if you are not able to do well, or if you're doing well and you want to do even better, then there is something in you which is stopping you, or which is not there, right? And to accept that you don't have that, it is not going to be one day job.
Yeah.
It's not going to be a transactional relation. It's not going to be a transactional relation between your coach that here's your fees and here's my advice. It doesn't work that way. It does not work that way.
Yeah.
It's an engagement.
It's a journey together. It's a journey together. Okay, Sark, and there are a whole bunch of questions that are coming in, and we can probably spend some time talking about that. But this is my last question to you, and this is more in terms of your shift from being a traditional family-run business, which you still run today, but your shift to the Exponents platforms. How did Exponents come into being, and what was your thought behind it? And If you can share a little bit about that, that will be really relevant to a whole bunch of entrepreneurs.
So, see, exponents was something which I've always thought there should have been in, in the Indian economies. Why? Because it's a platform that connects the startups and the family businesses in such a way that both can learn and gain out of each other. And the idea came because I'm a traditional business and I wanted to learn from the startups. What are they doing? How are they doing? Why are they successful? Why are they failing? If they are successful, can I learn something? If they are failing, can I help in some way? Because see, ultimately we all exist in the same economy. We all exist in the same ecosystem. To do business. But we have success stories and failure stories on both sides. Right?
So thank you for that. And now let's quickly go over some interesting questions that have come your way, Sarth. So
Okay.
the first one that has come is, and I think you've answered it, but I'll still ask the question. How do you define the coaching relationship?
I mean, it is mixture of arranged and love marriage.
That's well said. Well said. The next question that I have is again, it is, and you did touch upon it, but love to hear from you. Love to know what is your strengths as a leader and how do you dealt with your weaknesses or development needs, especially after meeting Coach Ratish.
Yes. So I said that I think my biggest strength is my construct. I can understand what's a constructive criticism and what's a most people call it sarcasm, but I call them a destructive criticism, and I don't like that. So, uh, that's my biggest strength. And something that I have gained after meeting my coach is that keep your ego small. Even if you fail, be ready to get up again. And that has been my biggest, gaining, as I say so.
The next question that I have for you, Sarth, and this is one of the listeners in who has asked, at what stage should we look for business coaches? If you can elaborate on this.
See, I think you should always have a business coach. Sometimes your engagement may be on a weekly basis, sometimes on a monthly basis, sometimes on a daily basis, depending on the kind of complexities that you are going through. But you should definitely have a coach, even before starting a business. I would really, really recommend that because you can go wrong way and it becomes hard to come back from that point. So you should always have a coach.
Okay, and this is a question that which is more in terms of measurement. When and how do you evaluate progress of the coaching?
So for me, it has been that as I was looking for actions, right? Uh, did I make progress in taking quick actions? Yes. How do I evaluate? I think one could be in vinyl pipes, we used to look at our pipelines, our funnels. That was one thing, that how did we really transform and pivot from where we were. In exponents, we look at how well are we able to progress in terms of our capturing the future, as we say. So yeah, for everyone, I think there cannot be any quantified formula, but yes, it's up to you. If you feel the coach has added value, I think that's the biggest quantification.
Okay, and there's a question for me, but I want you to answer that one, Sarth. And the
Okay.
reason why is because it says nowadays there's so many coaches in different categories, right? There's a career coach, there's a life coach, and so on and so forth. Everybody has their own coaching philosophy. Coach Ratish, what's your philosophy? So I would like to hear from you, Sarth. What is my coaching philosophy?
You are putting me on in a spot, sir.
I thought, I'm sure you'll be able to answer that one, right? Like a love and an arranged marriage. I'm sure
Yes.
that's the right one.
So I think the biggest ability of any coach is to sort of listen, right? If a coach is coming and giving you a lot of gyan, I think he's a consultant. So if any coach is listening to you, yes, if he's listening to you in a particular domain, he's good in that domain. For example, I wouldn't say that Ratish sir can help me a lot in space exploration, because as we speak, we are looking at space exploration as part of our exponent story. But then he can guide me personally and my team that how can we achieve what we need to achieve. Any coach, the primary duty is to put you in the right direction, right? Now, if that is sorted, I think you cannot have domains. You cannot have domains that he's a coach in certain things, right? Now, do you think Ratish sir can help me become physically fit? Ratish sir, my question to you: do you think you can help me be a physically fit guy?
I can guide you, but not.
But
not like,
I have lost. That I have lost 14 kgs in 2.5 months because of you. But can I call you a physical coach? No, but you have been coaching me, right? One of the 3 things that I wanted to achieve in first 3 months was to reduce 15 kgs, and I did 14.5 kgs. So now, how can I say that Ratish sir is just a mental coach or a business coach? He's a coach. He's a friend. You can go and talk to him about anything to him. So I don't buy that strategy. I would say that having one coach and then he links you up with other people can be a good strategy.
Great, thank you. And I think that's the right point that you brought up. Coach listens and asks the right questions. The right questions guides the entrepreneur in the right direction.
Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarth, for your time today. Really appreciate it. I've, as usual, and every time that we've had, I've had phenomenal conversations. So this was another good one. I still remember our drives to Agra, and that day we had a lot of fun and all the rain that Agra was facing.
It was. And I think, with you and with your guidance, I've become a better person.
Thank you.
At least for my family and for my team in the office, I've become a better person. And I am more ruthless and more courageous. Huh?
Yes.
Now.
Okay.
I'm more ruthless and more courageous.
Thank you. With those words, over to you, Satyam.
Well, what do I even say after hearing this conversation? It was inspiring. It was absolutely spellbound. And, the admiration that Sarth had for Coach Ratish, or, Coach Ratish had for you as a client just shows, how powerful coaching can get when you get into it. You so become used to a person that you just don't want to discuss with them, business. There's so much personal stuff, there's so much personal space that can come into the conversation as well. And that's, really all about. I'm sure, I'm actually short of words, but I'm sure, that's the experience.
Satyam, I can help you. Okay. And let me end this with a lot of humor. Okay. Yeah. Tomorrow, if I want to have an extramarital affair, I'll still ask Ratish sir. And then that I will not be able to have it. So I am in the right hands.
And I know Deepa is going to kill me for that.
And that's why I'm saying it, because I want to have fun. This thing will make me speak to her for next 15 minutes and have a good chat.
It's on the social media now, so we know the intentions. But thank you so
Exactly.
much. Yeah, but thank you so much, guys, for this lovely piece of conversation. We wish we could just continue this. The entire conversation had so much gratitude, so much fun. So inspiring to hear the journey that you guys have had together, and I'm sure a lot of takeaways for the audience today. So thank you so much once again for your time today. Wish we can do a series of such conversations between you guys, and I'm sure there will be an audience for that as well. On that note, once again, we really appreciate you taking out the time, and thank you once again.
Yeah.
Wish you all
Saad,
Godspeed.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I know you are out in a wedding deep in Rajasthan, but really appreciate the time today. Appreciate it.
Sir, it was my pleasure. It was my pleasure, and more than happy to do more such video calls with you.
Thank you.
You can.
Okay.
Take care, guys. Thank you
Bye.
so much, everyone. Wish you all Godspeed.